Dazzling diamonds! Dazzling diamonds. Well, Munaka is leaving Piano Pals.
So, guys, I've made the decision that I'm. Sorry.
Well, then.
I don't want you to cry, ne?
I did my makeup. Okay, guys, so I've made the decision today that I'm leaving Piano Pulse. And it's such a tough decision for me because I really want to be a part of the culture and I love these guys so much. But it's something that I've prayed about. It's not even about me anymore. God has spoken to me. And it's something that I have to do. My reasons have nothing to do with the whole thing, yeah, reason and our incident with Heineken. It has nothing to do with that. They also know we moved past that a long time ago. I think for me, it's just this show needs someone who's going to be dedicated, someone who's going to push the culture, someone who's going to be consistent. And I feel like it's only unfair that I stay here knowing very well that my head is in other places. So we've spoken about it, and the boys have known for a while now. But I think this is my last episode, potentially. But I want to say thank you guys for watching the show and for being a part of the culture with us. And what these guys here are doing is what these guys are doing is just trying to take piano to the world. And we need platforms like this that are going to push the culture, push the artists. You might not see it now, but in 5 years, you're going to see a massive difference. But yeah, guys, I have to leave. I need to push my presenting. I'm doing my sports scene. I'm doing so many things, man. I need to focus on that. You're going to see me on your screens, but you might not see me on Piano Pulse anymore. But here, this relationship doesn't change. Maybe I'll make a cameo. I don't know. But yeah, my makeup. But yeah, it's time.
I am so glad Munaka actually chose herself and finally decided to leave that podcast. So, for context, Umunaka had announced earlier, Uguti, she is leaving Piano Pulse. She did mention that it wasn't actually because of the reason issue, but I do think it did have a role and influence in there, and I'll explain why. Now, bear in mind, prior to Umunaka joining this podcast, Munaka was known as a content creator. She was doing her own thing before this podcast came along, and she had created her own personal brand. Now, assuming that you're joining a podcast in order to also grow your audience, unfortunately, the podcast took a turn where it started as a platform where, these co-hosts would be talking about music and so forth, because that's how it started. And now it just accelerated into something that it should not have accelerated into. Now, in the past episodes of Piano Pulse, we've also seen that Munaka has, butt heads with the co-hosts based off of things that have happened outside of the show. Example, Heineken House, where Munaka was the one that was invited. They did not invite the podcast. And so that made sense. Literally, they fought about that. And then two, the reason incident as well. I don't follow the podcast as much, but I'm pretty sure there were certain things that were probably said on that show where Munaka also was just like, you guys, listen, you know what? Now, in the plong is that seeing that there's two guys and only one woman on that podcast, a lot of the time, whenever we watch this content, we always want to, or rather, people are very quick to blame the woman. Uguti, okay, so you sat there and listened to these guys and you didn't correct them or whatever the case is. And then what happens? Now you're associated with the views of these guys that you basically work with. And now people think you're the bad guy. And anything bad that these guys say is now made out to seem as if you're in support of it, and it's not the case. And why? Because women are often the targets of izinto eziso, and that's what I felt had been happening in J. The moment this podcast started and the moment Umunaka was one of the co-hosts as the only woman on there. I'm also of the belief that the other co-hosts also were trying to dim her light because they knew just how amazing she actually was. And the fact that she was successful even outside of the podcast. And they personally, in my opinion, it felt very, very intentional that they didn't want her to take up that spotlight because all of them felt like they were all equals. But unfortunately, babe, in this world that we're living in, asiko equal sonke.
Vault unlocked.
In one of my recent videos, I actually played a clip because I saw it too, right?
I inserted a clip where Meg G was questioning if Munaka is actually going to survive on Piano Pals. I did that very intentionally because I saw it too. She wasn't. She didn't. Munaka is leaving Piano Pals. And I guess she was the host. She was in the middle. She was the center of attraction. And you have the two guys. And then we had the Heineken drama, and then you had the Reason drama, and then you had the situation where McG was questioning, will she last? And Usopp Nduko was like, you know what, Nan, she will last, but also she was a brand before the situation, Piano Pals. She was a girly for the brands. Anyway, she gets a lot of brand deals, right? If push was to come to shove, she wouldn't choose the dirt about McG compared to where the bag is really at, right? In that video, she was saying that it's God's will for her to leave. I guess so. I guess so. Nothing wrong with her leaving. I'm actually really happy for her. I feel like she will thrive and survive. About McG, we saw them as the outcasts of the industry when they came onto YouTube and it was like, everybody rejected us, now we're gonna do our own thing and be great. I told you, the demise of podcasts is coming. It is coming. And Munaka has jumped ship because she saw it too. And also, she said in that last episode that she was on that I'm not doing this because of the Reason thing or the Heineken thing. I love these guys. No, she knows they're going to drag her down for the creative that she is, that actually deals with brands. Not only does she deal with brands, she's on 5FM, she's trying to push the presenter stuff. Her path is very different. And if you are a creative that ever gets onto MacG's podcast or MacG's network, you will be limiting yourself. Even Abu MacG have lied to saying that we independent. Now all of a sudden they went to DSTV because they saw that they were limiting themselves. They're gonna go where the bag is at. But also, they know deep down inside, podcasting is not going to last forever. Nothing on YouTube lasts forever. There will always be a new niche. Before podcasting was a thing, there were other niches that were so important and people grew to stardom and so on and so forth because of those niches. And then they kind of dwindled or got into podcasting when it came to light. The time is coming now. I'll be back to tell you guys I told you so. I hear you guys don't believe me. That's how it works. Life works in cycles. There'll be a new niche. Before podcasting was a niche, we didn't even know about podcasting. There will be a new niche. The question is, can you integrate what you are doing into the new niche or can't you? That's how you get left behind. Right? So good for her. Let her go follow the brands, follow the bag. Maybe she'll have longevity in mainstream media or something like that. And also, YouTube will always be there for Munaka. She was on a podcast before Abu Mekji. She had her own podcast, I think. It was hers. So either way, she'll still survive. I did enjoy the dynamic of the two guys. They bring different personalities, and then Munaka was the central point. It worked. Question is, who is McG now going to bring onto the podcast? I think maybe you guys should put in your names, your options. And also I was thinking, because recently I saw Lolita putting herself out there. And she was like, McG, when she was saying to the boys at that other podcast, not spreading humans, man. I always say spreading humans. The other one, where Lolita was. And she was like, Mechi, yeah. If Lolita was on that podcast, maybe it would be good enough. But for some reason, I saw in the comment section, everywhere Lolita is, the people, the commenters are like, get her off, get her off, get her off. They don't like Lolita. I find her so entertaining. But I guess maybe I get it. Sometimes you just want to listen to something that makes sense. And Lolita never makes any sense. Could be interesting. It could be really interesting. But also, whoever they do get to fill that spot, I hope it's going to be somebody that's more energetic and with more vava voom and more opinions. Because Munaka was just like, she's okay as an influencer doing all the other things. She's on 5FM as well, so she's good. For Piano Pulse, she was just very flat, man. Maybe she saved herself. Maybe she didn't. I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. Basically, time will tell. But bye, Munaka. Yeah. They can't just keep Utahi and Sizwe. They can't do that. It's gonna suck. They need that middleman female boss bitch. Munaka wasn't that though. But they need a female boss bitch. Yeah. Anyway, if you guys haven't already, please do like, share, and subscribe to this channel. And if you guys do enjoy my videos, please do click on the thank you button. And before you guys leave out of here, please do drop me a comment in the comment section down below. Bye guys.